Yo, what is up, everyone? And welcome to the channel with your host, Ken Kukin. I used to do a lot of Destiny 2 content. I've shifted away from playing the game. I obviously haven't put any Destiny 2 content out on my channel for a long time. I don't even know what I want to do with this channel. I've been working on a different channel, and working from scratch with just one mobile game I've been playing and enjoying. But I've always wanted to talk about video games, right? So I think that's where I want to go. Um, Now, I'm not here to bash on Assassin's Creed Shadow. I don't know what I put for the thumbnail to try and get attention, to get my point across, right? So let me say I do want to talk about Assassin's Creed Shadow, but it's not the only game. I don't have any video footage or anything for the background. I don't have a lot of edits and cuts. I do apologize. It's just me, on the cam, and I'm going to talk about this for a moment, right? So let me set up myself first, right? Um, I played a lot of games in my life, right? Have you ever heard anyone say, or you ever heard the expression, "You've ate so much of one food, you're sick of it," right? You've ate so much cake, you're tired of cake, or you've had, so much, you know, uh, pasta, you're just tired of eating pasta all the time, right? You know, I feel like I'm there with video games. I've played so many video games that I'm getting tired of a lot of video games, and it really comes down to like the action adventure video games, hack and slash combat type games, right? Um, I'm at the point where I want to say it's all of you. I want to say it's not me, it's you. I want to say you guys just settle for mediocrity, right? If you're on the other side of the fence for any of these games, right, that I'm about to bring up, I really want to say you just settle for less, even though you're not settling. Like you're just okay with mediocrity. You're okay with simplicity. You're easily pleased, if you will, right? But in reality, it might just be I've played so many, I've spoiled myself on games, and I'm just never satisfied. It's never good enough. It's always mediocre. And we're going to talk about games that people are excited for. They just dropped. They've been out for a while. High praise from, players. We're not going to talk about critics. A lot of their stuff, I don't even know. That's a whole different topic, man. I don't want to be that guy right now with my first video talking about video games in general. Talking about critics or video game critics, but we'll talk about just players, right? Just friends that I talk with, people that, come to my live streams on Twitch and we chat about games, right? Just anyone I've met, right? That's just plays the game. They're on the other side of the fence and I'm just like, "Man, you're easily pleased, but maybe I've just spoiled myself." Well, what are you talking about? Let's get to the main point. All right? And then I'll talk about what I think video games can do in the future to kind of change that, right? To change how I feel, right? I think it's the evolution that games need to take, and we're couldn't have come at a better time, right? Assassin's Creed Shadow, the number one thing that nobody talks about, right? Or people do talk about it, and they're like, it's okay. The combat, not the stealth. The stealth is like bare minimum stealth, all right? And it's been like that in a lot of Assassin's Creed Shadows games. Not the greatest. It doesn't really change. It's getting as repetitive as the combat. The combat is like just as mediocre as it comes. All right. I've put 14 hours into the game. Well, you haven't even played and beat the game. I don't need to beat the game to come to the conclusion that the combat is mediocre. All right. What do I mean by that? There's only so many ways a person can play a game, right? Now, I have hands, right? Clearly, I have hands, right? So, be it mouse and keyboard, controller, touchpad, wands, I know if uh I knew someone that played a first person shooter. They had no arms. They played with their feet. With I don't even remember what they played with, right? But there's only so many ways you can control your character, right? Even touchpad, right? What do we do for combat in Assassin's Creed Shadow? Have you played it? If you have, you should know. And if you haven't, I'll tell you right here. 4 words: attack, 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 special move. That's what it is. That's combat. That's boring. It's very boring. It's very boring. Games, time and time again, do it. Remember, are you easily pleased? Are you fine with that? Or am I just never satisfied, or am I just spoiled, right? Like, are games just a lot of game combat systems mediocre, or am I've just played too many, right? I've watched every movie, I know every plot, I've read every book's, every story, right? I've heard every song that's ever going to be sung. The older you get, the less you get to experience when it comes to entertainment, right? When it comes to music, games, movies, books, et cetera, et cetera. Let's take a look at the list. I've gotten like 7 games that we're going to talk about here, and again, at the end, I'll explain, what I think video games can do going forward. Right? I don't have any videos, just screenshots, guys. As time goes on, we'll see where the quality of my videos go. One thing I would like to not do is when I sit down and talk about games, I don't want to see every time there's like no pauses in between someone talking, and then they're like, oh, by the way, and then this happened. And it's like you can clearly see that it's just a cut after a cut after a cut. Like they have to take a 10-minute breath or read whatever script they got going on. Not that anything's wrong with scripts. I just hate seeing visually the cuts. I like the one-take videos, all right? We're going to go for one-take videos here, guys, right? It's also the laziest way to do it. But my point can still be put across. Final Fantasy XVI's combat sucked. It was the worst thing about the game, right? Story was great. Loading a screen sucked, right? But now, I guess, are you nitpicking? I don't know. No one likes loading screens in games, right? Final Fantasy XVI combat was just horrible. I didn't like it. I was excited because they said the guy from Devil May Cry was going to work on it. Little did I know it was the guy from Devil May Cry 1, and he hasn't worked in the last 20 years, so he's like been in a cryostasis pod, and he woke up, and the last thing he did before he started working on Final Fantasy 16 was, to him, 24 hours ago, Devil May Cry just printed, and they shipped it out. So he went to sleep for 20 years, woke up and said, let's do it again. It was a hit in 2000 and whatever. It was attack, 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 special move. Very boring. If I call out 16 for that, I have to call out the remakes of 7. I am a huge Final Fantasy fan. 7 is my favorite because it was the first one I actually sat down and played all the way through. All right. Now I get to play with more characters, so it alleviated the monotony of combat. But it was still the same attack, 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 build up whatever meter you need to do, special move, right? Magic, summon, limit break, whatever it was, right? See where I'm going with this? Stellar Blade. Same thing. Attack, 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 special move. And I beat that game. I didn't beat this. I got all the way to the end. I got to the main villain finally officially revealed himself. I was in like some kind of like broken land. I knew, spoiler alert, he was like here to bring the apocalypse. It's time to end the world, right? Like I was very close to completing the game. I couldn't turn it back on because I didn't want to do any more of the combat. The only other Final Fantasy game I never finished was Lightning Returns because I hate Majora's Mask. Well, what is Majora's Mask? I don't like time traveling and doing the same 3 days. Horrendous gameplay. You either love or hate Majora's Mask, and I hated it. I hated that loop. I hate those loops in video games. No way. No way. I barely made it through Final Fantasy, what was it, 13-2? Final Fantasy 13-2, and that was just, what was it, time travel. Metroid Prime 4. Haven't played it, right? They only just announced it, but it's another game just lost to mediocrity when it comes to the combat. Well, it's not about the combat, it's about the exploration. Can we not have both? It's one of the oldest franchises out there. Like it's It's one of the oldest franchises out there, right? Not the Prime series, just the Metroid series. One of the oldest names in video games, right? Like, come on. When I seen the 3 bugs show up on the screen, right, on the Nintendo Direct, and Samus shot one, the bugs like spit at Samus, and she like dashed or left or right or whatever it was. I skipped the rest of the video. I seen all I needed to see. I said, "Yep, looks like 2005. Goodbye." Not excited. I'm not excited. I'd rather have a 2D Metroid. I'd rather have. I don't know. I'd just rather have that than a Metroid Prime that just hasn't evolved, right? Crimson Desert looks flashy, but I bet you a subscription to my YouTube channel that it's attack, attack, attack special move. I'm hoping the flashiness will just, and the rest of the game, like if the rest of the game is amazing, then I got nothing to say about it, right? If we didn't have so many loading screens in this stupid game, I probably would have finished it. Probably would have finished it. Crimson Desert looks flashy. Maybe that'll just like blind me from the repetitiveness, right? Like, but I bet it's repetitive. This one just came out, I believe. The first Berserker, Kazan. I seen the reveal for this and it didn't show gameplay footage, but I knew what we were walking into. I bet it's attack, 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 special move. Maybe it's more like a Souls-like game, and a lot of Souls-like games suck. They just suck. The Pinocchio one, I don't want to play as Pinocchio. I don't care about Pinocchio's story. I this I don't care how good the gameplay might look, and it actually looks clunky. It looks clunky. But the story, I'm not interested in that. That was just a hard pass story, just seeing who it was about. Maybe I'm missing out. One day I might come back to it, right? One day. You know, it won't be today, right? Expedition 33. So this is where we get to, well, what would you like to see from games, right? Because it's probably just me. I'm just never satisfied, and you know, I just expect too much from games, or I play too many games, I spoil myself. So I'm coming to the conclusion that no one else feels this way like me, right? No one else feels the way I do about this game. There was another game I was going to talk about, another Asian developed game, female protagonist. People, oh my gosh, she looks good, and look at the combat, it looks cool. The combat doesn't look cool. It looks boring. It looks like stuff we've had hundreds, if not thousands of times in the past 10 years alone. All right? It doesn't look that good. Expedition 33. It's a turn-based RPG. I have a hard time finishing turn-based RPGs, and I loved turn-based RPGs. I played a lot of them. In fact, they were my favorite genre back in the day. I wanted everything turn-based. You name it, I wanted a turn-based version. Dragon Ball Z, turn-based. Give it to me. Why? I don't know. It'd be cool. I think it'd be cool. Mega Man. Oh man, Mega Man Command Mission X? Yeah, it sucked. But boy, did I like it for the first like 5 hours. I don't think I finished that game either. That was a really bad turn-based game. And I was a kid at the time too, but oh boy. Yeah, we got that. Oh yeah. I was excited for that. As soon as I seen it was turn-based, I was like, "Ma, I got to have this." Expedition 33, right? It's hard for me to finish turn-based games, but this one has like that Legend of Dragoon feel. It's going to have quick time events as you attack, and then you have to like press, you have to press whatever button it is, right? As enemies attack you, and you have to learn their pattern and block against that or take damage, right? It's a small twist. So why am I excited about this game? And I probably won't finish it. I'll probably get bored of the combat because I couldn't finish Sea of Stars, and Metaphor ReFantazio's combat. Man, it just felt like the laziest turn-based combat ever. Phenomenal story. But the story alone and then the dungeon exploration got boring too. I just could not bring myself to like continue the game. I just stopped playing it after a while. Expedition 33. Oh yeah, yeah. So what do I want out of games? I think games need to evolve in a direction where it's how the world interacts with you, not so much you with the world. It's how it interacts and reacts to you, right? Um and I think because, we're seeing a rise with I think AI in video games makes perfect sense if it's going to evolve how the game uh I don't know how the game reacts to you, how the game engages with you, right? Again, we can only control our characters in so many ways with keyboards, mouse, controllers, right? Touchpads, motion sensor wands, right? Motion controllers and whatnot. There's only so many ways I can click M1, right? And I can press square and I can press X and I can attack, special move. Only so many ways, but I think how the game interacts with you, I think that's kind of where it needs to go. I think that's the direction games need to evolve. I don't know. Let me know. Let me know how you feel. Am I just? Is it? It's. I feel like it's me, man. I just play too many games. It's time. It's time to retire. At least, especially from non PvP games, right? Because PvP you have to play against other people. You have to learn how they play. Um, it's even though you're using maybe the same characters or fighting against the same characters over and over, like Marvel Rivals. I'm forever fighting against Spider-Man, Black Panther. All the same dive DPS characters that they can send at you, right? But each player is going to play a little bit different, right? Within the confines of the character, right? So, when it comes to PvP, yeah, it can be as repetitive as an action adventure, hack and slash game, but it's the player that's on the other side of this, the team, right? That the that's who you're really fighting, right? And they are reacting to you. It's reacting to you. The world is alive. Like the character's alive. It's alive. It's a person, right? Our worlds, the video game worlds, need to come to life in a way they've never come to life before. I'm already at the point where I feel like that's the next step, and I'm always I'm never satisfied with a lot of the games, right? And I listed games that were very, people are excited for. A lot of people are liking it, right? Excited for this, excited for that. High praise, bro. They wanted it to be game of the year, man. I think game of the year for 2024, just not talking about the winner of game of the year, but like everything was like a 7 or a 6 that came out. There wasn't, in my eyes, nothing was game of the year because everything fell short. But if I had to choose one, it wasn't Black Myth Wukong and it wasn't Stellar Blade. And I don't count remakes, even though this was an actual remake to the story where everything else is just a glorified remake, remaster. A different topic for a different day. With that said, let me know what you guys think. Let me know I'm not alone. Let me know I'm not alone. I'm out of here. Enjoy your night, evening, morning, whatever it may be. Peace out. And I'll see you guys next time.